Warning, this podcast discusses paranormal activity and other topics some might find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley.
And I'm Daniel.
And he's Daniel.
And I am Daniel.
Daniel
coming at you.
In the hot seat next to Ashley. Now I'm doing what you do, the podcaster or the broadcast voice.
Yeah, coming at you, not on you.
Oh my God. Stop. Okay, so you're hearing this on a Monday, but on our day, it's Thursday.
Yes.
On our day. It's our day.
Yes.
It's our day. It's Thursday.
It's the day before Friday. Or their day.
Very good. Or Thursday Eve. Or I can't wait until my podcast studio is done so I can actually face you and not feel like I'm talking to you like a goldfish, just looking at like one eye. Bloop, bloop.
Well, I'm very flattered that you don't want to take your eyes off of me. Or in this angle, your eye.
It's not that I want to look at you like all the time per se.
Wow.
I mean,
you could have just gone with it.
Okay.
You could have just made me feel good at least for a second.
Well, I think you're very handsome.
Oh, well, a little too late.
Well,
for the flattery, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, I just like having a conversation with you instead of like.
I like talking to you too.
Jeez. Well, I want y'all to know that after I released Monday's episode, which was last week after you're hearing this past Monday, the public school number 4 released, and I got an amazing comment on Instagram.
Do share.
Guess who it was from? You know, but just guess.
Someone.
It was from somebody that I consider quite important to the public school number 4. It was one of the founding members of the Annie Lytle Preservation Group. Yep. Very kind words. It was very nice. They said that I did a great job and that the research was great, that I even got the name right, which just made me feel very good because I worked on it all week. Unlike this episode, which I researched today, but this didn't have as much. There was a lot of information, don't get me wrong, but this is more like what I'm going to talk about today did not happen over a period of from 1891 until 1960 and on, right?
Yeah, it was a specific point in time.
Right. So yes, it made me feel really good. They posted some pictures on their Instagram, and I will link that Instagram account. I believe it's a public account, and they have been cleaning up.
Yeah, they've been doing the Lord's work down there.
Now, they did say that the graffiti is a regular occurrence and they are constantly
battling it.
Yes, it's like kids and trespassers are coming in. Like I told y'all, don't do that. That's wrong. It
sounds like law enforcement and some of the community has kind of gotten behind it to quell that sort of stuff, if you will.
Quell. Gotta love a good quell. But they have really been working hard. And the pictures that I found online, it looks like a brand new building. Not brand new. Granted, it's
made of brick and concrete, not granite.
You could still see wear and tear on the walls, but the graffiti, they have really put in the work. It looks amazing.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job.
I have decided that next time I go down to Fernandina, I'm going to go and ride by that building. And of course, I'm not going to trespass. I don't do that. I'm scared to pull into anybody's driveway without them knowing. Like, freak out scary.
Yeah, I know. It is something.
So, but yes, I want to see it from, like the road, not a bird's eye view. I want to see it from the street view.
Just going back a second, you literally made me drive down the road another mile or two. So as not to turn around in someone's driveway.
We live in the South,
we live in the South, so people are probably just going to wave.
No, banjos are going to play and they're going to shoot you.
They're going to wave. They're either going to wave their hand or a weapon. One of the two.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. But yes, I can't wait. Next time I'm in Fernandina, I'm going to swing by there and drive by it because I really want to see it with my own 2 eyes from the street view.
Well, I want to go.
Well,
don't go without me.
You probably will be in Fernandina with me because we usually go together.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying. We haven't seen each other all day. It's the first time we've seen each other today.
Yeah, this is the first time we've really conversed.
Especially this week. We haven't really talked this week. We've had a busy week.
Been busy. It has been a busy week. Maybe things will slow down next week.
Why would you say that? Golly. It's going to be so busy next week. Daniel's birthday's next week.
Ah, it is.
He'll be 41.
Thanks.
41. He's older than me.
Yes.
Not much older. So Daniel's birthday's next week, and I'm planning something. He has no idea what I'm planning, and I really need to get tickets before I forget for your birthday weekend. But other than that...
What?
I'm planning something for your birthday. You know, I was listening to the episode that we did last week, and I said, I bet I had a cannibal principal a time or two. Joking, when you're a child, you think the worst. And you took me literally, and you were like, what? That same what? I think I'm going to be funny. And he snatches it away, because then I have to explain myself. And then it's no longer funny. Then it's an educational podcast. Anyway.
I'm just sitting over here. Mwahahaha.
This is the man I chose. I love him.
Yep, and I chose you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you.
You stalked me.
All right, let's hear about this witch.
Well, they don't even know what we're doing. I haven't even told them.
Oh.
I haven't even gotten there.
Oh. Well,
ask me, what are we doing this week?
What are we doing this week?
Okay, can you sound like you mean it?
What are we doing this week, babe?
I'm going to tell you, honey.
Okay, thanks. I'm so excited to hear.
I cannot wait to tell you. Today we are actually doing the Witch Trials of Winnsboro.
The Witch Trials? Witch Trials of Winnsboro?
The witch.
Which ones?
The first witch of Winnsboro.
But which ones?
Let me tell you something. I can reach you from where I'm sitting.
Just barely.
The Witch Trials of Winnsboro.
That's WITCH. Just, it's audio, so, you know.
I wish we had some visuals so everybody could see how defeated I look right now.
No, you are winning at life right now.
Okay.
You're sitting beside the prize.
My REM pod?
No.
As always, I do have my REM pod going. I don't have my Spirit Talker app on because it was getting on my nerves last time. Should we turn it on?
No. It gets on my nerves too.
I can put it on silent.
No, it just gets on my nerves.
I'm going to put it on.
You asked my opinion and do the exact opposite.
I know.
Why even ask? Why bother?
Because I want you to feel like you're a participant.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to leave the volume off because it does get on my nerves.
All right, let's hear about this Witch Trial of Winnsboro.
If you are in the States or know American history, you have probably heard of the Salem Witch Trials, which happened in Salem, Massachusetts. The Salem Witch Trials began in June 1692, but the first accusations were actually around February of 1692, and they continued until 1693. Now, interest, and I'm not saying so much interest, but I guess support from the community actually started to wane by the end of 1692. So it really was like from February until September, October of 1692.
Yeah, it was like a couple of months of just kind of hysteria.
Yes, and the trials that they had continued until May of 1693, and that's when the last one was held.
Okay.
By May 1693, the remaining people who were being held and accused of witchcraft were pardoned and released. During the Salem witch trials, 19 people were executed and many others were imprisoned for quote-unquote practicing witchcraft. 5 of the imprisoned died while in custody. The Salem witch trials is considered to be the deadliest witch hunt in colonial North American history. The witch trials were said to have begun due to mass hysteria.
Yeah.
So witch hunts in general, and I wanted to include this because I'm not diving deep into the Salem witch trials yet, but I wanted to include this because that was the big one in North America.
Yeah.
But they actually began in Europe between the years of 1300 and 1330, and they went until 1782. The last known execution took place in Switzerland.
Huh. That's very interesting.
Right?
So it's like these like moments in time where like this drumbeat of witchery that needs to be fought against just sprouts up.
Right. But I mean, in Europe, it lasted a long time. I mean, 1300 until 1782, like that's a long time.
But it wasn't constant. It was just kind of here and there throughout that time period, correct?
I don't know because I didn't dive into it.
Okay. That's just my assumption, I guess.
I know way more people were executed in Europe than there were in the States.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Witches were considered to be followers of Satan, and they believed that witches actually traded their souls to Satan for his assistance in witchcraft and spells and to harm others. Usually, the individuals who were labeled as witches were people, mainly women, but there were some men, and they were, because they had different religious beliefs, they didn't go to church regularly, they had family feuds, or they were hysterical, quote-unquote, hysterical children.
Lived on the fringes of normal society for their time. Is that safe to say?
Yes, they didn't conform to the norms.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if you were just having a bad day and you got in a fight.
Witch!
Right. Well, I guess we got some wishes up in this house.
Could say that again.
No comment is what you're supposed to say.
Oh.
No comment. No, babe, not at all. Per the Britannical website, quote, looking back with the perspective provided by modern science, some scholars have speculated that the strange behavior may have resulted from some combination of asthma, encephalitis, which is an inflammation of the brain, epilepsy, child abuse, delusional psychosis, or convulsive ergotism. The last is a disease caused by eating bread or cereal made of rye that has been infected with the fungus ergot, which can elicit vomiting, choking, fits, hallucinations, and the sense of something crawling on one's skin. And actually, the hallucinogen LSD is a derivative of ergot.
Huh.
Interesting. End quote. Historians believe that none of the people that were accused of being a witch or executed during that time were actually witches or ever practiced witchcraft.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that.
It was so devastating and senseless. And we talked about it the other day. And that's what upsets me so much about stuff like that. There was no reason. Mm-hmm. There was no reason. Never that it's never okay for any of that. But this truly, there was no war. They just, you don't go to church, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're having a bad day, you're dead. You're a witch. You've sold your soul to Satan.
Or so it is said.
Yes. So let's jump to 1792, which is 100 years after the Salem witch trials. Located in a small town in Fairfield County, South Carolina, comes today's story, the Witch Trials of Winnsboro. In 1792, cattle became ill with a mysterious disease and they started to die. The residents could not find an explanation for the illness that was affecting their cattle, and before long, the only explanation that made logical sense to this group of people was that it was witchcraft.
Obviously. Had to be.
There's no other explanation.
Nope.
Depending on which source material you read, there were 3 or 4 people accused of witchcraft in Winnsboro at this time. The accused were Mary Ingleman and her neighbors, Mr. Harding, his wife, and Sally Smith. Most of the claims were really targeted to Mary.
Yeah.
So who was she? And when I look up the Witch of Winnsboro, Mary Ingleman is really the one they're talking about.
Yeah.
The other people are mentioned in passing, but it really looks like she was targeted by members of society in that area at that time, plus her family member.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
Mary was a German immigrant who was between the ages of 70 to 80, depending on which article you read. And she moved to Winnsboro from Lexington, South Carolina. So I guess her family migrated to South Carolina at some point, lived in Lexington area, and then moved to Winnsboro. And she was known to be a healer and was said to work with herbs. And people, the townsfolk, would actually come to her for healing when they were sick. Yeah. Before all this happened.
So like homeopathic remedies, right. Natural remedies, stuff like that, which are very effective.
Absolutely. When the cattle began falling ill and there was damage to some local farms, the townspeople began saying that Mary was infecting their cattle, causing them to die, and that she was accused of, kind of like last week. I don't mean to laugh, but that's kind of like my response.
It's just so ridiculous.
Yes. They accused her of levitating cows and levitating people. I'm going to do a trigger warning right here just for animal abuse. It's not really animal abuse. I'm going to keep it short, but just skip 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this next part. It's going to be really short. They accused her of levitating a cow and then slamming it to the ground, killing it.
Ground beef?
Oh my God. Daniel. Ew, David. Ew, Daniel. And
is that a smash burger?
Daniel Scott. They also accused her of levitating some daughters of some of the townspeople that were going after her. Mm-hmm. They were saying, she levitated my daughter out of bed, or she levitated me and my sister, or, it was just like...
That's just so like...
it's so random.
It's like something our middle school girls would like claim.
I levitated.
Yeah.
But they also accused her of shape-shifting.
Of course they did.
And that she could shape-shift into different animals, but the one I saw was a panther to hunt her prey. I mean, if you're going to be anything, be a panther, right?
You know all these panthers running around the Midlands.
I know. Here's a cougar sitting right here. Hey.
More of a MILF. Yeah, you're not old
I'm not a cougar yet.
You're not old enough to be a cougar yet. You're getting there.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Thanks. So her son, his name was Adam Free, I think she was widowed and then she remarried, and that's why her last name is Ingleman and his last name is Free.
Okay.
He made claims against his mother during her quote-unquote trial, and we'll get there in a second. He testified against her, but then his son, so Mary's grandson, also testified against her during her fake trial and said that she turned him into a horse and rode him for 6 miles to an apple orchard that belonged to Major Pearson, and then hit him in the head when he tried to eat an apple.
That's wild.
Another man, Isaac Collins, said that Mary also turned him into a horse and rode him to a grand witches' convention, where the devil was present himself. Like, he was there. The devil was there.
What kind of drugs do these people have?
I don't know. Mass hysteria. I don't know. Yes, she rode him to Grand Witches Convention, and he saw the devil there, and she was going to this convention. Other accusations against her was that she practiced hypnosis and performed uncommon rituals, and she was also blamed for natural disasters. Like, this is a short period of time here. Yeah. Like, they have really come from her.
They ratcheted it up quick.
I mean, go big or go home. Because this town, which is Winnsboro, which if you know Winnsboro, still to this day, it's pretty, when I lived in Ridgeway, it's pretty small. It was pretty small. It might have grown.
I doubt it.
But last time I was there, it's like you blink and you miss it type of town.
Yeah.
And it's in Fairfield County. And because of the location and the size of the town at the time, they did not have a permanent judge in that area. So what they decided to do, they appointed John Crossland as the sheriff and executor. The town decided to have a quote-unquote mock trial, which if you don't know what that is, it is a fake trial. Like when I worked for the court, Furman University would request the court be used for mock trials, and we would have students come in, and they would be appointed positions within the court. You have a judge, you have the attorneys, you have the parties, you have the, all the people that usually are in the courtroom were being acted out, and even the bar would sometimes do mock trials for practice.
Yeah.
And these were attorneys, but it wasn't a real trial. They were fake.
Yeah.
Fake trials. So the town decided, well, we don't have a judge. All of this is in our heads. I don't think they were saying that. But they decided to have this trial against Mary and Mr. Harding, his wife, and Sally Smith. And they went and they used somebody's barn. His name's Thomas Hill. And they used his barn, which is 5 miles from the courthouse of, I'm not sure if it was Fairfield County Courthouse or just the courthouse in that vicinity. And they put on a trial. And all these people came and put evidence up. And they were firsthand accounts against Mary and her neighbors, mainly Mary.
So it was literally all just hearsay.
It was all hearsay. It was all fake. There was no actual evidence. It was all just people saying, yeah, and then, there was nothing to prove that she did anything wrong ever. Or that she even practiced witchcraft. There was nothing.
There was nothing.
It makes me mad.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
A bunch of people wanting to blame somebody
for something.
For the hardship they were all going through.
Right, which was their cows, they were sick and they were probably mad cow disease, but they didn't know it at the time, It was probably something that is completely explainable, but they didn't know because, modern science wasn't a thing then. I mean, it's progressed so much. And instead of saying our cows are sick and it's spreading, it's witchcraft and she's poisoning and putting a disease using her witchy powers, and she's a panther and she's turning us into horses. And she's levitating my daughters out of bed.
Well, this doesn't make it any less wrong, but these people really didn't know better.
No.
Other than we used to.
Other than just right from wrong.
I mean, it really wasn't that long ago we were still doing lobotomies.
I would have been lobotomized.
You know what I mean?
I'm an unruly woman.
You know what I mean? So
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It still makes me mad.
It's human nature to want to try to find something or somebody to blame for hardships or difficulties, So I think a lot of this is that, but it's so glaringly wrong and inaccurate that it's really inconceivable to go as far as to put somebody to death or allow people to be put in such miserable conditions that they die just because of
of cows dying.
And the other thing is, these people were they did have to know that they were making false statements.
Well, yeah, you have her son and her grandson and a random other guy, Isaac, saying that about the cows and that she turned them to horses. You never were a horse.
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, just flat out lies. That is why the justice system, I agree with most people are like the justice system's broken because, it really is in a lot of ways, but it's come so far.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It really has because now, granted, I don't want to kick a hornet's nest because I know that there's some injustice in the world, but things like this, you can't just walk into a courthouse anymore and say, she turned me into a horse and rode me and she's witchcraft and then she's prosecuted through a mock trial and then punished. So it has come a long way, but there's a lot of room for improvement. Huge. That's a different podcast for a different day. So what happened after this is they could not put on any defense. They could not defend themselves. And they were found guilty.
How could you?
By a fake jury. They were found guilty by a fake jury in this fake mock trial with no judge, just a sheriff and executor. So after they were found guilty by this fake jury in this fake trial, they enacted their punishment immediately. It was boom, and then boom. And the jury members and the townspeople that were participating in this became a lynch mob. And instead of hanging them like they did in the Salem witch trials, they flogged them severely.
Oh my goodness.
After flogging them, so sorry, trigger warning again. Just paint it red, y'all. Just paint it red. They held their feet to fire and burned the soles of their feet off. After that, so one TikToker that I was watching said that they hung them and she survived, but all the articles I read said that they were flogged and then burned, but they were not hung. So I'm not sure if there's another article out there stating otherwise. The articles that I read got their information from the Fairfield County Museum of History, or I can't remember the name. Ugh, I'm just getting all worked up. It just upsets me. After the burning, they let them go. And of course, they were beaten and burned, but they were able to get away.
Yeah.
From what I read, they all lived. So I was reading a couple different articles, and I'm going to have all the articles that I read linked in today's episode show notes. But on GVL Today, it said that more than likely somebody wanted the land that she lived on because they were all neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this was kind of a way to get their land.
Mm-hmm.
But I also read that on the same website that if it wasn't a land dispute, it was somebody just had beef, no pun intended. God, that's horrible. Had beef with her.
Yeah.
And this is another way of getting her out of town.
I think a lot of these witch trials that have popped up throughout history, I think that that's really the root of where these are coming from, because they know, especially 200-300 years ago and further, they knew that they could rally up this hysteria and have these trials and get rid of these people or get what they ultimately wanted from these people by accusing them of being a witch and then gaining supporters around that.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense.
I lean towards them wanting the land because of the son and the grandson.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It really does sound like a land grab.
Yes. And so she was remarried. You know, their father had passed away. She was a widow. She was...
Yep.
And I guess, fear and money make people do some crazy things.
It does.
It was never proven that any of them did any witchcraft at all.
Well, sure. Because they didn't.
Exactly. In November of 1792, which was the same year, it was later on in the year, Mary sued the members of Fairfield County who had tortured her, as well as John Crossland, the appointed executioner, over the fake trial. William Young, a magistrate judge in the Camden district, ruled in her favor. So she tried to find a judge that would listen to her, and most of them kind of turned their backs on her. But this judge was like, oh, hell no, this is not okay.
She was done wrong. She was done dirty.
She was definitely done wrong. And he issued a warrant for Crossland's arrest and fined him 10 pounds. But I also read that it was 5 pounds. So in between 5 to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
But Crossland fled to the west before he was ever arrested. She never got justice.
No.
So I was watching TikToks because I love listening to other creators' point of views on them. And one of the TikToks I listened to said that it is believed that the ghost of Mary Ingleman actually haunts the Fairfield County Courthouse where she is awaiting justice. I don't have any proof to that, but I heard that and I thought that was like,
go.
We will. I don't know if we can get in there. It's the courthouse. I mean, it's a public building,
we
but
can go around.
Yeah.
Be on the site.
Oh, one part I left off. She continued to live in that area, actually in the Monticello area, until her death, and she died of old age. She was old to begin with.
Yeah.
She was like 70 to 80 years old when all this happened.
That's crazy that she stayed there. I mean, she didn't have anywhere else to go, really.
Probably not. No.
She's like, you're not getting this land.
Yeah. She's like, this is mine. Good for her, but this is horrible. And I never heard about this. And we were at our friend's house and our friend brought it up and it was like, huh.
Do what?
And that's just right up the road.
Yeah.
And then here I am doing all this research for today's episode. And then let me read this. I'm going to read this directly from Google. There's something going on in Pickens County, which is also right up the road. It's our neighboring county to where we live. Mm-hmm. And it says the Pickens Witch Trials refers to a 2025 incident in Pickens, South Carolina, where a local pagan and witchcraft community was targeted by Stillwater Christian Fellowship. Like, this is happening right now.
That's crazy.
What the hell? This event involved harassment and condemnation by church members at a market event, citing biblical passages as justification. While not a historical witch trial like Salem witch trials of 1692, it reflects modern-day discrimination and intolerance against the pagan community. Can I just say, I have friends that are witches. I have several friends that are witches, and they are amongst the nicest and most genuine people that I've ever met. Oh, it makes me mad.
One of the things about, I guess, humanity, I'll say, is self-righteousness. It absolutely disgusts me.
I guess that really never changes as time moves on.
No,
not with some people.
That is something that is one of the most disgusting things to me, is self-righteousness, because it leads to fear. Other people being hurt.
And fear-mongering. That's a hard word to say really fast.
Fear-mongering?
Okay, well, you make it out easy. It's ignorance, really. Because they're not hurting anybody. They're not bothering you. I know people who are, not to start a debate, but I know people who are Christians who have done us personally much more harm. Intentionally.
Oh, yeah.
Still to this day cause harm and hurt people on a regular basis and then go to church on Sunday.
That right there is self-righteousness. I mean, are your beliefs so fragile that you're threatened by
somebody else's?
What somebody else believes that you have no connection with?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing, like, if you and I, if our beliefs just completely competed against one another, you know what I mean? That's one thing.
Yeah.
Or your families. But, like, to go into another part of the community and just actively pick out a group that doesn't think or believe the same way you do.
It was a market. They were having a
exactly.
market.
It's like, that's just...
And there's so many people.
Mind your own business.
Yeah. There's so many people. Like, I go into those type of stores because I love crystals, and it's like these people, they're just trying to make a living. They're just trying to live their lives. Daniel and I, we are Christians and we believe in God and stuff. And it's just like, we believe that everybody else should believe in what they want to believe in, and don't force your beliefs on anybody else, and don't hurt anybody. Like, believe who you want. If you want to believe that the tree is telling you to talk, whatever.
And
whatever. Live your life.
If you don't feel comfortable interacting with people that don't believe like you, that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine.
You don't have to.
Find like-minded people.
Exactly, because they're out there.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage people to find like-minded people, because that builds a sense of community with those. But don't go into other parts of the community looking to
start a fight.
Start a fight to establish dominance, and that's really what that is.
That makes me so mad. This whole thing, like, I hadn't done the witch trials for a reason, because I knew it was going to upset me.
It's a visceral reaction.
Yes, and it does. It's because you and I are going through something personally, and we've been attacked on a regular basis, and it's for nothing. Yeah. And here these people are, and it's different because these people died. What we've gone through is hard on us, but if you zoom out, it's nothing compared to what there's groups of people who have been victimized over and over and over again for no other reason than the color of their skin or what they believe in. It makes me upset, and I want to cry, and I'm going to stop right now. And I love you all. And I love you all, and I accept everybody. I don't care what you believe in. There's a place for everybody here.
Yeah, for sure.
God. Okay.
Deep breath.
I'm good. I knew I was going to get worked up. I didn't. And I'm going to leave this in. I'm not taking this out because, there's so many times that I don't speak up because it's easier sometimes to stay in my own lane.
Sure.
But this is my lane. Like, if you don't like what I'm saying, that is okay. And I still love you, but this is how I feel.
I don't understand. I never have understood, like, why people can't just accept that somebody believes something different
and go on
and still, like, be civil.
That's okay. It's okay.
Like, you don't have to argue, and
you don't have to fight.
Yeah, listen to them.
It's like, and I know this, I can keep going on this, and it's like women who compete with other women. Like, I have never had to blow somebody else's candle out for me to shine.
Yeah.
I've never had to snuff out another woman for me to be beautiful, or for me to be successful, or for me to be important. Women who support women, and women are just people that just support people. They say girls. And I use that because women often will belittle other women's because of their insecurities. And it's just like, it's the same thing. Like, you don't have to dim somebody else's shine to shine brighter.
Yeah, you don't have to eradicate somebody else's beliefs just to
be important.
To make your beliefs more valid or valuable.
I mean,
it's like,
ugh. Okay.
But yeah, these people did
nothing.
This is dark spots or blights throughout history.
And these articles I read said when things like this happen in a community, they scar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They scar it.
It is a definitely a scar.
I mean, this stuff happened in 1692 and 1792, and here I am in 2025. getting upset.
Yeah.
But also because it's happening right up the road.
Yeah, 350 years later, here we are again.
Come on, people, get it together. Behave. Get your act together. Not you. Not my listeners. My listeners are amazing.
Mind your own beeswax.
Okay. I'm hot. I've worked myself up.
You are hot.
Is my face red? Because I feel flushed. Guys, I love y'all. And I thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me get that out, because just listening, reading this and talking about what's happening in our own community just right up the road, it's just okay. But yes, I'm going to leave it at that. I love you guys. I really do. I've said that a lot. I really do. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening. I don't know what we're doing next week. One of our daughters actually sent me a castle. So I might look into that. And I was like, your dad wanted to look up a castle.
Yep, so I did.
Yep. And it's in Ireland.
Cool.
So I think I might look into that. There's also some other things. I want to do the Missouri State Prison, which is crazy dark with their hauntings. You know that. I just think it's fascinating. But yeah, if you have any ghost gossip or episode suggestions, please send those to ghostgossip247@gmail.com. You can find me on TikTok at Ghost Gossip Pod, on Instagram at Ghost Gossip Podcast, and on YouTube. Ghost Gossip, and have no idea.
You're a tuber.
I'm a tuber. I have 14 subscribers.
Ooh.
Look at me, over 10. It's perspective, right? I can look at it like I only have 14, but I'm like, hey, I have 14.
You're Mr. Beast, watch out.
Watch out, Mr. Beast, I'm coming for you. But no, I'm not coming for you, because there's space for you and me.
Oh.
There is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not a Mr. Beast fan, though, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, he does him, and I will do me.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll do you.
Oh my God. Here we are again. Thank you for listening. And until next week, they'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.